Good morning. Welcome to our May Shotsuki Hoyo service. Today we will be opening with the ringing of Kansho, followed by Hyobakumon and the reading of the Shotsuki names. Then the chanting of Sanbutsuge. Following that, we will cut to the group reading of the 6 paramitas, and then we'll have a Dharma message from Reverend Kojima. Then we'll have the closing. Thank you.
On this occasion of the Mountain View Buddhist Temple's May Shotsuki Memorial Service, we come before the image of Amida Buddha to express our sincere respect for and gratitude to the Shotsuki honorees. As I read the Shotsuki names, please join me in silent meditation so that we may think deeply on their continuing influence on our lives. Robert Ariyama, Naga Chikasue, Reverend Phillips Eidelman, Judy Fusho, Ruth Goto, Levan Gray, Isano Hamada, Gary Hirotsu, Hironori Honda, Dr. Yusa Hongo, Kei Ikeue, Robert Imani, Nancy Ishii, Ishino Ishikawa, Nobukichi Ishikawa, Caroline Izumi, Tomoyuki Kanzaki, Yasuko Kariya, Joe Kawaguchi, Makoto Kawaguchi, Shigeko Kawamoto, Kiyono Kawano, Hideo Kumamaru, Jun Kusumoto, Roy Matsumoto, Edward Morimoto, Hana Nagao, Charles Nakatoishi, 美奈子中本、よしと中村、ハリー中野、直子中島、純成富、ハーバート西村、はじめ尾形、思いを荻野、吉弘岡崎、以降奥、レオナルド奥、ジョン奥村、ジョー奥野、静尾栄、浩二栄、ジョージ佐藤、重見佐藤、ラリー白原、フランク清水、メイ下口、和子スプリンガー、愛子谷口、三江富樫、房子徳田、住江智香、ルシアタウン、ジョージ塚川、聖子田村、住上原、荒木上原、住上田、トラオ渡辺、ジョン・ウェッターズ、ペギ山口、フランシス山地、ジョン山地。Please put your hands together in Gasho to show our deepest feelings of gratitude to these deceased family and friends who have brought us together today to encounter the Buddha Dharma. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.
The 5th and 6th grade class will now present the 6 paramitas.
Donna,
Giving.
I shall give unselfishly to others.
Sila.
discipline,
I shall follow the teachings of the Buddha. Shanti.
Patience. I shall be patient and understanding.
Virya.
Endeavor.
I shall do my best in all things.
Jnana.
Emmy,
Meditation.
I shall reflect on the teachings of the Buddha.
Rajna, wisdom.
The light of wisdom.
Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amitabutsu.
No, I don't remember to.
Namo Amitabutsu.
No, I don't remember to.
Namo Amitabutsu.
No, I don't remember to.
For those who cannot see the truth, holding the wrong views and the arrogant mind, it's extremely difficult to obedient receive the Nembutsu that embodies of the Buddha's vow and rejoice in it. This most difficult of difficulties are things that passes. Amanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mountain View Buddhist Temple's May Shotsuki Memorial Service. I hope everyone is doing well. It's already been 1 month since we began our sheltering in place. Because our gatherings and activities are restricted due to the coronavirus pandemic, our daily lives have been changed completely. Of course, it also affects young people's lives too. My kids are disappointed that their school will be closed for the remainder of the school year. They really miss their studying at the school, playing with their friends, having fun activities like a field trip and so on. Now my kids study online at home, following their class schedules. I'm very impressed by their efforts because they concentrate on their studies at home as they do at the school. My daughter is a second grade, not second grade. My daughter is a middle school student, so she can study by herself. But my son is still in second grade, so I have to be with him during his home study, because whenever he has any questions, I have to answer them as his teacher would. Because of this, it's kind of stressful for me. But when I see my kids working very hard in spite of this change to their daily routine, I'm really proud of their hard work and how they have met this great challenge. So they are doing a good job. And I also really appreciate my wife for her dedication for our family, cooking 3 meals for us every day without complaint, no monku. We haven't had even one takeout meal since we began sheltering in place. So I know that it must be a challenge for her to think what to cook every day. She also tries to make our home happy and bright by doing crafts, or making cookies and cupcakes with our kids so that we don't become bored or depressed because of this social isolation we must all put up with. She always tries to make us happy or relaxed by putting a lot of thought into her ideas. Sequestering is a hardship for us, but I'm aware of how much my wife has been doing for our family every day. My kids and I always depend so much on her that I know she must feel very stressed because she never has her private time. So I'm deeply, deeply grateful for her great devotion and tolerance. It's already been 16 years since we married. Even now, Sangha members have often said to me, "Sensei, you sure married such a nice lady." Or, "You are really lucky to have such a wonderful wife." Of course, I'm very pleased to hear these words of praise for my wife. But sometimes I wonder why nobody has ever praised me by saying to my wife, "Oh, Oksa, I envy you, you're a nice husband." So I admit I'm jealous. Over the past 16 years, my wife has helped and supported me countless times. Sometimes we have argued because of our different values or sensibilities. But no matter what we argue about, in the end, my wife has always respected my opinion and gone along with me. On the other hand, I have to admit that I seldom listen to her opinion. Rather, I tend to solve problems with a presumption that I'm always right. As I think about my attitude, I'm very embarrassed by my vanity and arrogance. My wife could choose to walk away from such a self-centered person by saying, "Let's separate, let's divorce." But instead, my wife has patiently tolerated me for over 16 years. But instead, when I think about how she has put up with me, I'm very, very impressed. I'm very, very grateful that she hasn't left me. So I cannot help but put my hands together in gasho to my wife in deep gratitude. Arigato. Thank you very much. So, in light of this gratitude I feel, I'd like to share with you a little about wrong view and arrogance as described in Jodo Shinshu. No matter what kind of person we think we are, we each have a self-serving and conceited side, and in no small way, right? It's extremely difficult to get rid of such thoughts completely. But if one reflects deeply and is able to admit that he possesses such a hardy mind, he will listen attentively to others and even agree with them by saying, "Yes, you are right." How about you? Are you able to listen meekly to others and truly hear what they are saying, even if you disagree with them? One reason we fight is because we don't have the capacity to listen to others' opinions and questions. The reason why we are not able to hear their side is because we have a conceivingly strong, selfish, and conceited mind. which says, I'm right, I'm the reasonable one. In Buddhism, this way of thinking is called wrong view. If I believe that I'm a modest person, it is only my mind that is convinced so. In the opinion of others, I may not be such an excellent person. And when we are confused by our self-centered mind, we tend to regard others as arrogant, unkind, and difficult. With this kind of attitude, no matter how hard we try, there is no room for accepting others' opinions when we argue. Wrong view doesn't refer to the viewpoint of others, a viewpoint of a person who has a selfish mind. It refers to the viewpoint of someone who wouldn't recognize his selfish mind if he had one. If a person can sincerely acknowledge, I'm filled with a mind of wrong view, and is able to say, I'm ashamed of it, that person no longer has a wrong view, nor is he an arrogant person. Such a person can readily accept that Amida Buddha's primary vow is meant for none other than himself alone, because it is the supreme vow which was established to save all beings from wrong view and arrogance. This person is able to say the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu naturally as an expression of deep gratitude for the great compassion of Amida Buddha. On the other hand, if a person is unable to see that his true self is filled with a mind of wrong views and selfishness, unfortunately, he will never be able to rejoice Amida Buddha's great wish, which is always directed at him. In Jodo Shinshu, such a person is called a good person. Did you know that? It's surprising, isn't it? But in Jodo Shinshu, a good person is someone who ignorantly thinks of himself as good without being aware of his own selfish nature. Okay? To say it simply, we call an arrogant person a good person in Jodo Shinshu. That's from the viewpoint of our founder, Shinran Shonin. On the other hand, an evil person refers to one who deeply understands his own evil nature, because he constantly reflects deeply upon his imperfect self. So we can call a humble person an evil person in Jodo Shinshu. Please remember that an evil person, as Shinra uses the term, doesn't mean a person who breaks the law or commits immoral act. Okay, you should remember it. Based on those perspectives of Jodo Shinshu, I'd like to share with you a famous saying by Shinra from the Tanisho. It is, if a good person attains birth in the Pure Land, how much more so the evil person? Although it is a famous saying by Shinra, it sometimes confuses people because of its unique phrasing. But as I told you, it has a deep meaning, completely different from its common sense. This phrase simply means that in the great compassion of Amida Buddha, there is no distinction between good and evil. Rather, Shinran shows us that if anything, Amida Buddha sincerely wishes to save the foolish being or arrogant person who fully realizes his own evil nature and who, in deep gratitude, entrusts himself completely to the great compassion of Amida Buddha. That's the essence of Jodo Shinshu. But again, please remember that the term evil person used in Jodo Shinshu doesn't refer to a person who breaks the law or commits immoral act like murders. Okay? So don't misunderstand it. I have another example why an evil person full of selfishness and ego is the focus of Amida Buddha's vow. If you are a doctor and there was a room, waiting room, full of patients who all want you to examine them first, what kind of patient would you give a priority to? Someone who has a slight cold or one with a serious illness? I'm sure you would first attend to the patient who hovers between life and death, right? That's why Shinran shows us that, if anything, Amida Buddha sincerely wishes to save an evil person full of arrogance. Okay? And we should remember that the foolish being or an evil person Shinran is referring to each one of us. It doesn't refer to anybody else. Unfortunately, the person who believes that he's a good person is not able to recognize his own foolishness and selfishness. Because of this, he cannot open his heart and mind to Amida Buddha's compassion. No matter how deep Amida Buddha's compassion is, such a person will not be able to show his respect and gratitude for Amida Buddha's virtue by saying the name Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. I think such a selfish and vain person relies too much on the great compassion by concluding that I am always right, without any self-reflection whatsoever. In the opening meditation, I shared with you Shinran's words from his writing, Shoshinge. For those who cannot see the truth, holding the wrong views and the arrogant mind, it's extremely difficult to obediently receive the Nembutsu that embodies Amida Buddha's vow and rejoice in that. This most difficult of difficulties, nothing surpasses. When I reflect deeply on the Nembutsu teaching, I realize that I'm an arrogant husband who is unable to hear the sincere and the truthful opinions of my wife, the person who is closest to me, because I always assume that I'm right. When I think deeply about it, I cannot help but to realize all the more that it's very difficult for me to simply accept Amida Buddha's primary vow, because I'm an arrogant person who ignorantly thinks of myself as good and right. Even if I argue with my wife and hurt her feelings, I usually take a so what attitude with unfounded confidence, believing she would never walk out on me over something so trivial, or she will never let me down. Such ugly and selfish dependence on my wife makes me arrogant and encourages me to have the wrong kind of dependence on Amida Buddha's unconditional compassion. The more I listen to the Nembutsu teaching, the more I'm able to recognize my true self full of arrogance. Then I cannot help but reflect deeply on my arrogance, which has resulted in a totally self-centered way of thinking. It's not at all easy for anyone to get rid of wrong view and selfishness. But when we become aware of the Nimbus teaching, it encourages us to use Amida Buddha's light of wisdom or Dharma mirror to examine our selfish mind. During this time of hardship caused by our quarantine self-isolation, I will try once again to make a fresh resolve to show my deep gratitude to my wife's patience and tolerance, and to set aside my unyielding self-righteous attitude before she becomes totally disgusted with me. Without a doubt, I'm really glad to have such a wonderful wife. Once we truly embrace the Nimbus teaching and open our hearts to Amida Buddha, we will wake up and realize that it is not natural that we take for granted everything around us, nor all the things that people around us every day to make our lives possible. We will also feel ashamed that we have believed that we are usually right and that those who differ from our point of view are wrong. Especially during this unique period of sequestering at home, I sincerely hope each of you will try to show your gratitude to the person who is closest to you, your husband, wife, child, neighbor, or those most dear to you, your family, your friends, and reflect deeply upon your daily life using the Nimbus teaching as a precious Dharma mirror as you continue to take the path of the Nimbutsu while respecting and supporting one another. If you fully understand this truth and follow this teaching, you have already taken a step forward to the way of awakening. Okay? In conclusion, I learned something very, very important when I came to the US. It is happy wife, happy life. Thank you again. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to my Dhamma talk this morning. I sincerely hope everyone will continue to stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much. Please join me in meditation. For those who cannot see the truth, holding the wrong views and the arrogant mind, it's extremely difficult to obediently receive the Nimbutsu that embodies Amida Buddha's vow and rejoice in it. This most difficult of difficulties, nothing surpasses. Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda, what's Namanda.
Hey, thank you for your attention today. I hope that you enjoyed our service. As you noticed, we made some changes. The acoustics in the empty Hondo had a lot of echoing, so we tried to do the Dharma message with Sensei inside our Nokotsudo. I'd like to tell you a little bit again about where I'm standing. If you come to the Mountain View Temple and you come to our Hondo, in the lobby, opposite of where the gauging is a raised area that is between the lobby and the exterior wall. And up here on this side, we have pictures of our past resident ministers of the Mountain View Buddhist Temple. And we are patiently waiting for the new pictures, but we will have pictures of, we have a picture of the Gomon Shu and his wife. And then here we have some ceiling tiles. One of these is from the Mountain View Hondo, our Hondo, from when it was done. And the other is from the Goedo at Honganji in Kyoto. And in 2001, there was a major project to restore the roof of the Goedo when all the temples that donated towards that effort were then given old tiles as appreciation gifts from that. So when you have a chance to come visit us after all the return back to whatever form of normalcy we have after the pandemic, please take the time to come a little bit early and look around. You can come up into this area, it's not roped off or anything, and see what we have here. So thank you again for your attention. I hope that everybody is staying safe and staying healthy. Thank you.